So before we get going too far, here's the spanner I used to crack it. I already opened the box. You can tell I was impatient. I want to look. I ordered some fan pick. You can see, I'll blur out my info, but this is what you want as it's related to a Levo. So you can see that there. Not cheap, actually, but I think it's a worthwhile investment. Come back over, you can see we've got a Hope box. Open this up from the bottom, and sure enough, there you go. Pull those guys out, and you can see in this case here, we've got e-bike cranks, and it gives you kind of the full instructions on how to do it. Obviously, first step is to take your cranks off, and then the next step would be disassembly. And you can see this is with the drive side motor. It talks about using 8mm hex key, turn the inner bolt crank anti-clockwise, so counterclockwise to loosen it. And then you just keep doing that. You're gonna run into some resistance, so have some kind of leverage to be able to use in order to get that off. So that's the kind of standard issue. I think the other side is the same as well. So nice and easy, just counterclockwise with an 8mm. All right, so we just got some new pedals, we just got some new cranks, 155s, dropping from 165 stock on the Specialized Levo. 155s, just not only does it allow you to have less pedal strikes, it also, I think, centers you on the bike a little bit more, depending on your height and weight and torso and leg size. I know for me, I prefer 155. This is coming from a previous Gen 2 Levo, put 155s on. Also did it for a Canyon Torque On. Massive pedal strikes, that's got a really low bottom bracket. If you're running the mullet wheel set, I think 155 is the way to go. So yeah, let's go ahead and take off the old pedals first, and then we're gonna replace the cranks. Okay, so the drive side is opposite if you're looking at it from the hex key side. So instead of turning it clockwise to tighten, in this case here, you would turn it clockwise to loosen. So there it is, nice and easy. Of course, I pre-loosened that. It's always nice to have a rubber mallet around just in case you're not quite sure. Just tap it either way a few times and it'll usually crack one way or the other. So let's go ahead and take this bad boy off. So you can see spinning loosely now. You can throw the Allen key in there. You can use your hands. Let me grab the Allen key just to help. Okay, so it's loosened up. It's cracked basically. So now I'm just gonna use the Allen key here, and you're gonna see we're gonna turn it, and then eventually get your hands close by because it's gonna pop out. And there it is. Now we're looking at the opposite side, the non-drive side, and this one is exactly as you would think. It is counterclockwise. You can see I've already cracked it, and then I'm just using an Allen key here to loosen it. And then as before, just keep a quick hand on it. There, so you can see it. You can see I'm twisting it, and sure enough, it pops right off. One thing to understand too is if you look at your pedals, if you can see there's a little lip on that. If there's not a lip on that, if it's like a cone that goes in, then you do need pedal washers. And you can see on this one here, it actually has the lip, so no pedal washers needed. All right, so you need an 8mm wrench. You can see 8mm, hopefully. This is a little breaker bar I had from another Allen key set. Hopefully it's not too hard. And then counterclockwise, right? So hold the pedal. Yeah, that broke pretty easy. But I know that that's not the, oops, that's not the crux of the issue here. It gets harder when you go to start removing the, extracting the cranks. So this is where yep, and it is a lot harder. Let's see. I saw a video that said hold it here. Okay. There it goes. Whew, I'm glad I had that breaker bar. That was tough to get going. So we'll go ahead and slowly remove this. It was hard for a couple of turns, and then eased up. So I'm gonna take the breaker bar off. I just use this. Pull tight, and there it goes. Pretty straightforward. Two things. The first is you want to do one crank at a time because you need to line it up so it's 100 degrees when you line the spines up. The second thing, it says check for grease, see if it's dirty. These I haven't had this bike too long. I'm looking, the grease looks pretty good. So I don't think I'm gonna mess with it. I think I'm gonna keep the grease as is and just install the crank. So let's grab it. The other thing to look for is when you look at the crank right here at this little arm area, there's a DS, drive side, and DS, non-drive side. So since we're on the drive side, of course we want the DS. You probably won't be able to see that, but this is the DS. So we're gonna go ahead and rotate this crank so it's 90 degrees. And then lightly just push on this. We should be able to feel it lock in place. And it should be 90 degrees or 180 degrees to the other drive side. It looks good. It locks into place before you start screwing. And as you screw on, as you can see, I mean, it is no pressure whatsoever. Nice and easy. So you really want to make sure, once again, you get this crank down. And this goes back now the opposite way where we're going to have to grab our breaker bar here. 50 Newton meters of torque. You can torque it. Just crank it down. Either way, you want to make sure it bottoms. That's really the key. Just make sure it bottoms out. And I'll let you know when I feel it. All right, I'm a pretty big dude, so I have no problem putting 50 pounds of torque, especially with a breaker. That's gonna do it. Let's do it one more check here. And you do have to rail on these things pretty good. I mean, let's be clear, this is not a easy. I like to rotate it around to a couple of different ways. So you can see I'm getting a little more leverage there. So, really making sure it's in there good. Okay, drive side done. We'll switch it around and do the other side. All right, first action counterclockwise, looking at it. So plug it in, counterclockwise, pretty easy. And this is where it's gonna stop you. This goes back to the same thing I just did. So get it to where, you know, you feel like you can get a good angle on it. This one's definitely a little bit easier than the other one. Drive side was pretty tough. And that's where the motor puts the power, so not surprising. Non-drive side's a little easier. Spin it around, pop it out. Once again, it's pretty clean. Grease looks really good. Tons of grease on there still. Double check. This is the NDS side. Once again, you'll look here, NDS, or there's an N there, and it is. And then, super important, of course, make sure that it is 90 degrees to, or 180 degrees, sorry, to the drive side. So that looks good. Should be nice and easy turns to get it on. Should be really no force, and you can see that's just butter. Crank it down by hand a couple times. Grab your, hopefully you've got either a torque wrench or something with a little more force than what I'm working with today. And just grab the breaker, and I'm gonna do the same thing. Just, oops, I want to start tightening this bad boy up clockwise. And once again, the key really being drive or bottom this fucker out is what I think about. Let's see. Kind of keep your hand right there, actually. That seems to be pretty good. So you can grab the chainstay and kind of squeeze those two together. Give it a good torque. Okay, I'm pretty good with that. I'm gonna flip around and just check the other side. using that same method, that actually worked out nice. I liked it. So I can grab that and then clockwise turning motion on this. So actually we'll go this way. You can see that motherfucker's tight. All right, done. Cranks installed, now it's just the pedals. All right, the cranks were pretty hard to get undone, I'll be honest. So I've got some just marine grease. Have this, if you ever had a boat, you probably have tons of this laying around. Just slap a little on there. Do that on both sides. That'll just help you the next time you go to take it off. I've installed these pedals a few times. All right, so same thing, pedals, double check. If you didn't like save it, that's okay, because it tells you actually right on the spine which one's which. And you can see this one, I can't see because I'm old and I'm blind. I believe it says, yeah, this one says left. So if you were, this is the opposite of course. So if you were sitting on the bike, the left side is going to be your drive side. Wait, let's make sure that's right. No, sorry. The left side is going to be the non-drive side. Sorry guys. And then a couple of different ways. Once again, to do this, I like to start it with the Allen key. And remember, this one's normal. So immediately just start turning it righty-tighty like you would for anything else on earth. Tightens right up. Give it a tighten. And the reason why these are threaded kind of weird is because if you think about the torque of the rotation of your pedal stroke, they want to make sure that that it's self-tightening is in essence the way to think of that. So in this case here, I'll grab it. You don't have to kill it. Just make sure it's on there decently. And now we can do the right side. I am going to do a double check. Yes, indeed, it is the right side. Just wanted to make sure. So just thread it in, and just remember this one's opposite. So normally, if you go righty-tighty, that's going to loosen it up. So you want to go lefty-loosey to tighten it. Don't ask me. I mean, I do know why. I just explained why, but it is a pain in the ass. You just have to think about that. It's the reason why it's self-tightening as you pedal is the way to think about it. So that's that. Put a little crank here. And then I like to grab the spanner. Once again, give it a little, put it down to where you can get some force on it. Just give it a little go. Here's a good spot as well. You don't have to kill it. Just tighten up. That's on there. So with that, we are now looking at 155s on a Levo. And I'm looking forward to riding this tomorrow to really just get a feel for, how that changes. The 2020, it made a big difference. I would assume it's going to be the same here. So pretty stoked. All right. I'm sweaty and old. See ya.